Rating 5 very popular games I never ever played in an arcade. So I never dropped a quarter in one of these machines. Never did. And I was gonna have some other rules too. You don't care, and I don't care. This is just an excuse for me to play with my purple rod. These are games that I haven't played in the arcade, or that I never played in the arcade, but they're popular games. Popular games that I never played in the arcade. Okay, that's bullshit, because I was gonna say or on Boomer Dad, but no, that's nonsense. Because I don't know when you're gonna see this. We could have experienced the apocalypse. By the time you watch this video, the Earth could not exist, and so it's irrelevant before or not, because you wouldn't know, and it doesn't matter anyway, because it's my channel. I can do what I want. Tell me in the comments how bad I am at it. So it can't be a game I ever played in the arcade. And this part, that's not bullshit. So these are popular games that I never played in the arcade, but I might have played on Boomer Dad by now, because I actually played all of these games to do the research on it, and I know that these games are going to be released before this is released, so actually that whole thing would have been a lie anyway, and I just wasted 5 minutes talking about something that is irrelevant. I actually probably just did the byline of my whole show, my whole channel. See, I don't even know what I'm doing here, and here we go. All right, so we're gonna do Splat, Bubble Bobble, Marble Madness, and okay. Oh, okay. Shit, I was reading the wrong list. I was like, wait a minute. I played, right, okay, all right, so I don't even know my own rules. I've only got look at this. I've only got, it's just, there's nothing there, you know? I mean, I can't believe I just did that. Kevin, God! Menace. I got a menace. Do a little bit more of this. It still looks weird to me, but okay, it doesn't matter. I don't even know how long I've been recording. That was not the right list. That was not the right list. But why wouldn't so I wouldn't rank those. I don't even know why. So I put Splat, Bubble Bobble, Marble Madness, and Millipede, Rampage, and Mario Brothers. Popular games that I didn't play in the arcades on a regular basis, but I actually did play them at least once. Shit. And actually, I don't even remember ever playing Splat. Marble Madness and Millipede, Rampage, Mario Brothers. I never played Mario, so I don't even know why. Probably because Mario Brothers was in the arcades, right? There was a Mario Brothers in the arcades, like one of those Play Choice 10 fucking things. It's like I'm looking at Maury, my producer, or something. I don't have a producer, which is probably very obvious. I'm not even into these fucking games. I've already played these games, and I have to look to remember what they were. That's what you're dealing with here. So just bear with us, 2023 Sybil. We're all okay in here. Can't be a game I ever played in the arcade or on BD. I don't even know what that is. Splat, Bubble Bobble, Marble Madness, Millipede, Rampage, Mario Brothers are not all games that I actually did play once in a while in the arcade, because some of them are. I don't even know what I'm doing. I wonder if I just picked, I don't even know if I resolved that, but that section, fuck that section, that's over with. There's a list of games that I played that aren't on this, but I didn't really play them. God, I can't shut up. Mother, help me, help me. I'm never gonna get this done. I shouldn't do this early in the morning for a number of reasons. Okay, so another list of things. I was also limited by the controllers. There would be some games, or even some entire genres, that I might not have played. It's likely Pole Position would be in this mix, because I would love to rail on Pole Position. It's likely Pole Position would be in this mix, because I did play Pole Position once or twice, so it wouldn't, fuck that. A racing game that I wouldn't, let me get to the point, limited by controllers, just because of the controllers that I have for that. I wouldn't do any racing games. I do have a gun. I don't like how it works. It might be an older technology, or might need a firmware upgrade. If it doesn't work, do a firmware upgrade. Men over 50, don't you wish that worked for everything? So racing games, flying games, the shooting games, the guns, and then guitar games. And I'll tell you something, one console game or series that I played a lot of. By the time I got into Rock Band, but Guitar Hero, man, I loved Guitar Hero. And no, I didn't start playing guitar because I got really good at Guitar Hero. I was playing guitar well before Guitar Hero. Never very well. I probably play Guitar Hero better than I play actual guitar that I've been playing 40 years. 40 years? You'd think I'd be better than you will never see. Let's get on to the topics here. To mention some popular games, see on Boomer Dad, you would see Sprint. There were a lot of Sprints. The arcade machine had 3 wheels. I mean, sometimes the earlier Sprints, it was like cool. 8 steering wheels, like 4 steering wheels. It was like a craps table, only everybody had a steering wheel. It was like slot car racing, but it was digital. It was, God, for the technology limitations back when I was just barely not a crumb cruncher anymore, they really came up with some cool stuff. You know, like putting people on the moon. So Sprint, and then Off-Road was a game that I really liked. Flying games, I just have yuck there. Probably because Afterburner, yuck, any flying games. I never got them. Ugh. That's probably why I don't like Neverending Story. No, not Neverending Story. What's it? The one God, Harrier? Space Harrier. Space Harrier is kind of like a flying game, like Blaster, like just sort of floating around. And I just never liked flying games because when they're realistic, it just feels like you're floating around. I keep hitting my microphone. Keep hitting that mic, Kev.
Or just hit Boomer Dum Dum. Insurance covers us either way.
And shooting games, I loved Area 51. I loved Time Crisis. By the time it got to the cool stuff, like Alien and all that stuff, like Super Recoil, and it was machine guns. By that time, if I walked into a halfway decent arcade, chances were there was a grid there, and that was the game that I was playing. And I already had 2 kids. So when I was hitting the arcade was when I was dropping my kids off at Taekwondo. When 10 years earlier, I was hitting the arcade after my fucking paper route. Talk about life-changing pretty quick. Good changes, though. Nothing but good changes. Love my family. Love my kids. Love my wife. Hope you love yours, too. Boomer Dad's gonna buy a tent. Go town to town! Let's get to the games that we are going to be rating. Yeah, I always get that wrong. It's not like tomato. I mean, they both mean different things. So if you rating's like grades in a class. Everybody can get the same grade. If you're ranking, then you got to put them in order. Rank and file. File cabinets are in order. Now that I'm 55, I'm coming up with ways to remember the difference between 2 rudimentary words that I probably learned the definition of 54 years ago. And the nominees are, well, they're not nominees, right? There's not a number 1 here, or there could be all number 1s. But we all know that number 1 isn't really number 1. Number 1's a Tommy. And is there a Tommy in here? Do we get to unleash the Tommy? Do we get to the base of our purple rod? Let's find out. Okay, so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, very popular game. Never played it. Never wanted to play it. Know precisely why I never wanted to play it, though I'm not going to rate them yet. This is why, but if my notes were longer, moving right along, the next one is World Class Bowling. I had Simpsons Bowling here. All right, now I'm going to change this. Now, why am I changing this? That's one of my things. I will know that the note that I will never even open up again is wrong. World Class Bowling. Technically, it's deluxe. But that's gonna be too long in the chapters anyway. And I'm typing here like you see me typing, right? I don't even have that going on. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, World Class Bowling, deluxe. I'm not typing that down. I'm saving. Did I save the right thing? I've got 5 monitors going. Every time we do a game guys recording with my son, and I have to do that fucking alt tab that you have to do to get out of the, because they hold your screen hostage. And I'm not talking about monitors. I'm talking about, Windows, like Windows, like Bill Gates, window. I'm not even halfway through a list of 5, and I've been recording for years. Turtles, World Class Bowling, Deluxe, Mortal Kombat. Yes, I never ever played Mortal Kombat. I never dropped a quarter in Mortal Kombat. Fighting games. Hate fighting games. I really don't like fighting games. It's not a fighting game, it's a beat 'em up. I don't care whether you can move a little bit on the Z axis or whatever. I don't care. If all you do is fight, of course, one of my favorite games is Punch Out, but it's a different it's all about perspective. You feel the pain, you're right there, you're getting hit. The other shit they're there, it's third person. Well, Punch Out's actually technically it's over the shoulder, OTS. They have that, it's like third person, but you're over the view. It's not really first person. Nobody cares.
In case you are having trouble keeping up, we are already at number 3 and speeding on to a fate slower than being digested by the dreaded sand monster Sarlacc, who unfortunately ate Boba Fett instead of all those annoying forest teddy bears.
Double Dragon. Never dropped a quarter into Double Dragon. I was going to do Bad Dudes, but I saw Double Dragon on more of a list. This is another reason why we don't write down our thoughts, Kevin, because we're so good on the top. We're so good on the top of our feet. I started this list. It's right here. Turtles, Bad Dudes, and Simpsons Bowling. You were originally going to get Turtles, Bad Dudes, Simpsons Bowling, Mortal Kombat, and Double Dragon. God, that would have been 4 fighting games. That sucks. That would have sucked as opposed to how good the video is now. So I went from, because I was writing the shit down and I'm like, why don't you type it out so that you can put it all down and stuff and then still get it wrong. And somehow I know why I did the bowling. It's World Class Bowling instead of Simpsons Bowling, because Arcade 1-Up does a Simpsons cabinet, I think, with a trackball. I never even knew Simpsons Bowling existed, and it obviously was popular. If Arcade 1-Up is doing a whole cabinet, the MAME doesn't work. It doesn't load in. It's Play Choice 10. The only Simpsons Bowling that's on there is a Play Choice 10. Probably not a Play Choice 10 because they didn't have, I don't think they only had sticks on those. So I'm almost certain it wouldn't have been a Play Choice 10. It was probably an emulation, or I could find out what it was. But you don't care, and I don't care. Simpsons Bowling didn't make it because my ROM took a shit. That's the gist. And then I put Mappy on this list just because I just couldn't stomach 4 fighting games. It was bad enough doing 3. It really was. Not saying the fighting games and beat 'em ups are bad. They're not bad. It's all what your thing is. What kind of muscle memory do you want to develop? Because that's really all it is. It's just reaction. It's just reflexes. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, World Class Bowling, Deluxe, Mortal Kombat, the first one, Double Dragon, the first one, just because that sounds cool. I don't know if there was a sequel. And Mappy. I know World Class Bowling is a pretty popular game too. I just never saw it. I got a feeling that was sort of more of a bar tavern. That was probably the kind of game that replaced the old shuffleboard. Remember those? The pucks with and you would throw, and the pins would just, I know you didn't follow any of that. Think bobby pins on a gym floor with a lot of cornmeal on it, and you're sliding a hockey puck around ghost bowling before your mom comes in and screams at you for destroying her kitchen. That never happened to me because we never had cornmeal. So, how are we going to rate these? Rate or rank? What did I rate? I should have just said rating is like movie rating. You can have more than one rating. Why do I always say you can have more than one movie have the same rating? See how much faster it is when you talk like you don't fucking... See, I can't even insult myself without stepping over my dick, I can't even trip over my dick verbally without hitting my microphone. It just goes on and on. Somebody stop us from going around. And then he hits his microphone with his hat. Ugh, we're going to tell you how the rating system works. If I tried to explain it to you right now, we'd be here for another 20 minutes, even after I edit it down. So take it away with this is how the Purple Rod rating system, Boomer Dad rating system works.
The secrets behind Boomer Dad's Great Purple Rod.
I think a 2 is going to almost be worse than a 1. Number 2 stinks. Like someone's poo. Like a 1 is like Tommy Wiseau. That's what I should do on my thing. Is I should put Tommy Wiseau or just put a Tommy Wiseau wig on my thing. Maybe I'll do that for the next one. You get a 1. You're my future wife. My future wife is a 1. Where do you go? Where's the ceiling there? Well, as my friend Nigel Tufnell taught me, my meter goes to 11. Tommy is the big one. I mean, the Tommy is like when you fuck it up so badly, but you do it perfectly, and you Tommy Wiseau, you the room it. Troll 2, Birdemic. All the way at the one end is Nigel, is an 11, is this one goes to 11, and then you're my future wife, the Tommy one. Okay, so here's how this works. I don't know any of the special moves or anything like that, so I'm sure that this probably looked magically like I just suddenly didn't have glasses on anymore. Fuck, I don't remember what I'm talking about. So since I didn't play these games and I don't know any of the inside and all that and the bits and the bite, this is the first one that ever, and I don't know any of that shit. All right, I don't know any of it. I'm just assuming because these games are popular that they were good. So I'm gonna start at a 7. The wimp ass beige vanilla 7. 7 is where everybody starts. Is that fair though? Because by my thing, it's like if it annoys me, it's going to annoy me, right? It's gonna annoy me, or at least not hold my interest as well, which is why I didn't play them in the first place. So of course, I'm gonna start deducting points. Should I assume that because they're popular, they start at a 10 because they're at the top of their class? I mean, I would argue for Mortal Kombat. Double Dragon, I heard, but I think that was much later on. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. My kids were actually, I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were like right a little bit when they were right before my kids, because my kids were never really into that. I want to say my son would have been. Why am I talking? Oh, bowling, right? Bowling in a bar. It's fun. It's so I'm assuming that's and it was actually, it's a cute, okay, so now I'm getting ahead of myself. Spoilers! This man's about to ruin your day. So now kind of the target is like better than 7. So if they really annoy me, they'll go below 7. But see, then you got to go really deep to start getting toward the fun stuff. The deuce, Tommy would be the other way. The Tommy is like, I don't think any of these are going to make a Tommy, right? So that's a good thing that the Tommy is, because, no. Sorry, nothing's going to get the Tommy this time. But I have a feeling there's going to be a special mention, like right before some special lunch. Special.
As we watch Boomer Dum Dum put in such an effort to come up with the word honorable, just picture him as a lost little puppy that you have absolutely no desire to rescue.
Special mention. Who would get a special mention? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yes, a special mention. Now that I'm looking at the few fucking notes that I actually typed out, that I actually understand what they meant. Boomer Dad loses. They finally watched one of his long ones, and the people have spoken. I know one of these times I'm going to be doing this, and when I'm done, I'm going to open up that door right there.
Do you see the door? It is in the corner with the poor clown who has to watch and listen to Boomer Cyclops all day long.
Just gonna be 2 men in white jumpsuits and a fucking rubber truck in the front yard. So we're gonna start at 10, assuming that these are top of the line games, and they are. I'm not looking to bust on this. If you misunderstand any of this as busting on your game, because and I was playing it back when the Flutter jump state and they had the right, all of that stuff. If anything that I just said in the last 20 minutes has pissed you off, or you would care to take what? Sir, I take what is that saying?
Umbrage. As in, I'm very sorry to hear you feel umbrage toward your alma mater.
This is what college does to you. It makes you scared to think in ways that help you survive normal society. Unless you want to be a doctor or design any building or bridge that I plan on using in any capacity. And then I want you to go to college and do very, very, very well. Honorable mention. That's what I was trying to think of, was honorable mention. And I didn't even look it up, okay? I did not look it up. And I could have. Even though I did go to college, I could have looked it up and figured it out all by myself. But I actually just remembered honorable mention. Just like at one point, I suddenly remembered my daughter's birthday that I couldn't remember. But that was different because I had the nines are a big number because they're millennials. Holy shit! I might be doing too much recreating these days. Honorable mention. We do have an honorable mention, and the honorable mention is even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was not able to escape the death clutches. Yeah, okay, the arcade game. It infected the turtles twice. Play Choice 10. Turtles are twice as susceptible to the Play Choice 10 virus that is sweeping hyperspin. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Play Choice 10 has come to show us just how little our quarters can actually buy. I'm a dick, or it's my channel, or who cares, whatever floats your boat, because who cares, which is really the truth. Now I forgot what the punchline was. I'm giving TMNT, see, every time I heard TMNT, I always thought it was some fucking stock market thing. I didn't realize it was for marsupials or whatever, the reptilian version with the snails, but with legs. That's like a classification, like they're lizards, right? Reptiles. So is a snake if a snake had a shell, would that be like a snug? Oh my God. The men in white are coming. The Play Choice 10 version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles gets the deuce. Number 2 for your choice of 10 number 2s. At this age, that actually doesn't sound like a bad day. Definitely doing far too much recreating, far too early. I've already told you nobody's gonna get the Tommy, so you can go now. That's the show. Probably gone on for, an hour at this point anyway, and I haven't even gotten to it. So if you're still watching, you don't care about the fucking numbers either. The sad thing is the overall takeaway from that is nobody is interested in my purple rod.
Some truths simply cannot be argued with.
So before the police get here, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's fun-ish. I mean, it moves. It doesn't lag. I will say that. It's very responsive. It bounces. It's poppy. I remember the Rugrats, and I know that this is not the same type of. The Rugrats was a I know I'm playing everything on the wrong joystick. I know. I understand. My kids would play the Rugrats game, and I remember little Chuck, the little ball, gross. It looked like it fell out of a Star Trek episode, running around in a diaper. Was very clunky. This is very responsive. So if I were into beat 'em ups, which I'm not, or if I were into any kind of fighting game, which I'm not, and if I were into, I call them the cartoon games. To me, if you're gonna do that shit, like just do it like the Japanese arcade looking game, you know, the one that's just like, it looks like the inside of a piñata. Like all those little poor fuckers with the claw in Toy Story. If you were inside of a piñata with a lot of light on the outside, sort of translucent, listen to me, I'm trying to describe, yeah, why don't you patent that, Kevin? Now, the one thing that the Teenage Intermittent Turtles, why is that funny? It's funny because you're recreating too early. The one thing about these kind of games that bothers me, and this is what bothers me about Tutankhamun, I know I just completely, where the fuck did that come from? You can get killed from above and below you, but you can't hurt them. It's not fair. Tell me that I'm wrong in the comments. Tutankhamun would be a completely different game if you could shoot up and down. If you could shoot up and down, I probably would play Tutankhamun a lot. My brain doesn't work like I have to get to that horizontal thing. In some ways, I think Berserk is a harder game than Robotron because it doesn't function the way you want it to. And it's a real hard mechanic to get your head around that you can't go up and shoot up. And also, you had a button for right and left shooting with Tutankhamun. Listen to me. I'm talking about Tutankhamun. Back to our originally scheduled disaster.
I could not have said it better myself.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I could give it an 8 just to find something. It did have a kind of a cool thing where you went down an alley and you had to, but you were still working on, that was kind of interesting when you can maneuver better. I think with Tutankhamun, it's just that you're just in these little fucking things and you just, you can't move around within the space. You can only move. I'm going to give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Intermittent Turtles, I'm going to keep it at a 10. I know that 4 people can play it, and people that love this game love that part of it, and I understand that. Even more so now that I'm doing Game Guys with my son. Having somebody there is really, really a new experience. The kind of work that I do, it's writing or it's editing or something like that, you don't really collaborate on that kind of stuff. Well, obviously you can, but for the stuff that I do, I don't. Because I'm writing as we speak, or as I speak, and as you sit there and painfully, wince, and even though I know I'm going to edit the holy shit out of this thing, I still know it's going to be an entire fucking mess. On to World Class Bowling Deluxe. Why does that sound funny? My son got on this Yoko Ono thing on Game Guys for like one episode, and then it came back, screaming at a sound check or something. I don't care because I don't like I think the Beatles are the most overrated band. Give me a comment or two. World Class Bowling. World Class Bowling was a lot of fun. It's the kind of game, the next time my mother comes over, it's a great game for a group. I can see how you could get really, really addicted. I played with myself and I lost. Go check out that. It's a standalone video. What I should do is I should just pull them up here. Technically I can do that, but I'm not going to do that. If I start pressing buttons and start changing the screen, this is just going to get worse. This is going to turn out to be like in Spinal Tap, a mystery best left I can't even get my own fucking punchlines yet because I'm recreating. World Class Bowling. I like World Class Bowling a lot. You can play it. I think it's 50 cents a credit, but still that was good because 4 people would be playing that for 10 minutes. You didn't have too many times 50 cents would last you 10 minutes. I'm going to give it 11. It was better than I expected. So that'll be the benchmark for 11. It was better than I expected. So I'm giving it 11. Nigel, in your honor, it's the other channel I'm constantly reminded all of my social references are 800 years too early. Thanks, son, for making Dad feel like the spring chicken he was a lot of springs ago. World Class Bowling, charming game. Now, I did have the deluxe version that I was playing, but I'm assuming that just had a couple of extra bells and whistles because I know that there was a follow-up to World Class Bowling because I have that as well. Mortal Kombat is a classic. Clockwork Orange is a movie that I've never seen. I've seen pieces of it. I can tell I would hate it. I'm not a Kubrick fan. That kind of a movie did nothing for me. But that's fine because it's all subjective. Mortal Kombat, I have reverence, for how much of a trendsetter it was. Actually, I actually have some respect, a lot of respect for Mortal Kombat for a few reasons. First, it was just the first of a very, very, very lucrative franchise. So that alone, fucking Police Academy. The other thing about Mortal Kombat was the innovation behind it. What they did and how they did that, my production company did something similar to this. It was different martial arts moves. Shoot the move on green screen and then deliver the moves like cleaned up, just chopped, 5 reps, 10 reps or whatever. So the fact that they shot people, actual martial artists doing these moves and these poses, put that into a game. Even though at the time that kind of stop action there was something really, really cool about it, but there was also something really kind of almost backwards about it because gamers love their frame rates. They love their frame rates. They don't like anything that looks even remotely like a film. A lot of that is motion blur, which is frame rate. Fewer frame rates, the strobier it gets. The more motion blur there is, the more filmic it looks. That's it in a nutshell. So the fact that Mortal Kombat did that, incorporating it into a game, as somebody who has made a few movies, I'm amazed at what video game designers, what companies, what these producers do today when they do it right. They're making a full-fledged movie with all these different things that can happen, knowing what goes into just putting one story together. But an animated story, and then you add in all of it's a lot. And the fact that they were doing something like this back in when they were doing it, if it was before Jurassic Park, it was before, a lot of the software that made shit like this a lot easier. So the third homage that I would like to pay to Mortal Kombat, it is where they drew the characters from for my favorite arcade game, which is the Grid. It's not the game I'm best at. So go in the arcade and play like something that you wouldn't have at home. The Grid. I loved the Grid. And I was playing that when I was in my late 20s, early 30s. But I found Mortal Kombat to be very, very, very difficult. It was very user unfriendly at first. It was too difficult for me. And I'm not great at video games. I'm not a slouch either. I can hold my own. I just finished Dark Souls Remastered with my son. He told me everything to do, so I didn't figure any of it out myself. He was the master and the very, 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 very patient master while I fumbled my way through that game, but that was a lot of fun and it was great. It's worth a look. Game Guys, Best Game Guys here on YouTube. This is not sponsored by Game Guys. I'm gonna give Mortal Kombat the 11. I'm gonna give it an 11 as well. Lost my train of thought. Keep waffling. I feel like I didn't build it up well enough. But I don't want to give it an 11. I want to give it a 10 because it was impressive how they put it together. I know that they improved it because I think there's Mortal Kombat 2 is the big one, or Mortal Kombat Championship Edition. So this one probably had like Siphon Filter was the had to come first, but Siphon Filter 2, in my opinion, was a much better game. Shit, listen to me. I can't. Shut up, Kevin. I'm gonna give it 10. I'm gonna hold it right there. There's enough that pushes me to the 11, and then enough that kind of annoyed me about it. As a first-time gamer, let me at least have some idea of something before some fucking chick is yanking my spine out of my ass. If I had gotten to see a little bit more playing time, just a little bit easier mechanics to start with, and then later do what they do what the other ones do. Let me beat the first guy to get a use for the mechanics. These guys just come right out and just kick the shit out of you. And don't say it's the same guy and all that stuff. They all just get progressively harder. It doesn't matter who comes out. Your counter is just not going to work, or it's going to be better depending on which way it's going as you progress. Just like any other game, really. I really like when people complain about bosses. That's just a boss that was reskinned from... Dude, all you're doing is figuring out tells, and then rolling or spitting or throwing or whatever the fuck it is you got to do to kill the thing. It's just learning muscle memory. What's the difference? Our shit just didn't look as pretty, but those guys didn't have that kind of technology. And they also didn't have DLC either. So Mortal Kombat, solid 10. And thank you for, and I forget what his name was, the guy that I always used to play on the Grid, wore the executioner's mask, dressed in black, superpowers to just suck people in and boom. And there was always this one little kid that would come in and just crush me. He was like 10 years old, like, one of those guys, these kids, they can't even see where they're feeling for the buttons and they're kicking your ass. They're kicking your ass. Ugh. Double Dragon. I'm glad I did Double Dragon instead of Bad Dudes. I don't know why I got Bad Dudes in my head. And I know Bad Dudes was popular. It had to have been some kind of popular because I knew about it and it was mentioned in the movie Parenthood. Yeah, I know. What? Yeah, okay. Try it. It was back when they actually knew how to make movies. Some pretty incredible stories. Double Dragon was pretty splashy. It was fun. And I did a super move at one point. I don't know how I did it. There were a lot of buttons. I think that could have been a Play Choice 10. There was a lot of buttons. Whenever they have 6 buttons, Play Choice 10. Is that Neo Geo? Is that the same thing? Because I know Neo Geo has that extra button. I had to have something for my thumb to do. Double Dragon. I kind of had fun with it. See, this is tough. I can't be unfair. And now that I'm looking at this list, I actually didn't mind any of the games. I wouldn't really choose to play any of them. See, I want to give it an 11. I want a Nigel, but then I feel like I should do that with Mortal Kombat. Now, I will say this about Double Dragon. You could double jump. That was kind of cool. You know, okay, I talked myself in and out of love. I talked myself in and out of love. Was that Bon Jovi? In and out of love. Is that? See, now, oh shit. I said I would never do this again. In and out of love, right? I want to say that's Bon Jovi. Who sang in a Gata Davida and out of love. That's yours, Bon Jovi. Yes, right? Bon Jovi.
Perhaps in an alternate universe, the song is titled In and Out of Rehab.
Now I feel stupid. What was I referencing with it for In and Out of Love? Oh, I was in and out of. I remembered that. There's hope now that I remembered this, but now I'll probably forget it while I'm relishing the fact that I remembered it. I'm in and out of wanting to give Double Dragon an 11 and feeling like Mortal Kombat's going to get dissed if I don't give it an 11 as well. But Mortal Kombat was a little clunkier for me. Not their fault, and probably had maybe something to do with the process, especially back then, getting it into the computer. I guess once you get, you know, the fighter's arm, maybe they just did poses and I watched a special about that one time on YouTube. It's really interesting. Double Dragon was kind of fun. I kind of got a little bit further. You could double jump. You could do all that crouching tiger, hidden dragon shit. That made it a little bit more fantastical than Mortal Kombat, which made me feel like I was watching an old 70s movie and getting my ass kicked at the same time. Didn't really particularly enjoy either one. Well, actually, the old 70s movies, but not like Shogun, like that kind of old, like, I'm not going to talk about movies yet. Boomer Dad presents Boomer Dad 2, the movie channel. Double Dragon, I'm giving it 11 just because of the 3 games, and I know Turtles is a beat 'em up versus a fighting game. I believe that's, you know, if you can move in the x-axis or in the y collateral region of the zoomable sphere. I'm such an asshole sometimes. Let's get on to the last. It's the Hallelujah chorus breaks out in song. The last game on our list is Mappy. Okay, so Mappy was lost. It's actually, I think it turned out to be a kind of a fun video because it wasn't a fighting game. God, I hate fighting games. I just hate fighting games. It turned out to be, this is how we figured it out because I'd never played it before. But I'd seen Mappy. I've seen Mappy in other places. It came out on the console. I believe it was on the 2600. I wasn't that guy that had 700 Atari games. Even when I had an Atari. I've always had a console in my house. I even have one now. And I didn't realize that until I did this channel. I've always had a console in my house. I've only been 1 or 2 games that I just play a lot whenever I play. And I'm kind of like that now. When is that not Robotron? You've seen my wheel. I've got shit ton of, they're all great games. And every time I go up to play one of them, it's why you don't see me play Robotron on Boomer Dad. That's all I play when I'm not, recording for Boomer Dad. So Boomer Dad's the only thing that actually keeps me playing the other stuff for the most part. It's not like Robotron's become almost more of a meditation for me than a video game. And that's all I'm going to say about that. If you do some digging around, you can find what I'm talking about. So Mappy was a fun game. I'd seen it mentioned. I know John Riggs has mentioned it a couple of times. It's just one of those games that just gets mentioned. But it's a game that I don't remember it ever being in any arcade. I never remember seeing this thing standing up when it would come out for the Atari or whatever it came out for, standalone the cabinet just as part of the artwork. But I never saw a Mappy cabinet that I remember in person. So I certainly never played that. So I was going into it blind and I did what you do. Fucking read the side. They give you that in the Hyperspin, the little side things that they would have. It's almost like the flap in a book. Sometimes it would be artwork. Sometimes it would be the instructions. That and the couple of title screens that they would cycle through. That was it. That was all you had to go on. 1981, you know what you had? You had fucking quarters and your short-term memory. There were no playthroughs. Maybe, the programmers could tell you, no, that's not. I don't know anything about that because I don't know anything about how video games are built. All I know is we didn't have books for those games. You had those two cards, and sometimes they didn't even give you that. My Mappy video is figuring it out. Like, I didn't know in Mappy you could open these doors, and first thing I did was try to jump, and I couldn't jump, and I was like, fuck. And then I saw the thing about on the trampolines. I thought you wanted to get them red and gone. Like, that was, oh, you're clearing these out. It's like Q*bert. I think I even said that. It's like Q*bert. Yeah, Mappy's like Q*bert. Mappy was a fun game. My problem is I don't like games like that. I call them platform games. I don't think you call them platform games. Elevator action, that kind of stuff. You see people like John Riggs. He likes those kinds of games. There's something for everybody in all this. There's only like 10 million games out there. It's not about right or wrong or somebody having better taste and I'm certainly not saying anything negative about John Riggs. I have a lot of respect for John. If you're watching me, you know who he is. But if you don't, certainly check him out. I can see why Mappy was a popular game. Now, am I really gonna give Mappy an 11? Because I can tell that that's a clever game. I can tell it's a clever game. Yeah, I'm gonna give Mappy an 11. Only because I can see from my original notes here that Splat, I think that's where Mario Brothers and Splat originaled. Where they originaled. I'm going to give Mappy an 11 just because I can tell if I was into that kind of a game, like Q*bert Cubes, I play now. That's actually one of the games that will get me off of Robotron. I do play Q*bert Cubes because it was just different enough, and Mappy is just different enough of that kind of game. Will I ever play it again? I might not. My favorites wheel is getting filled up with all these games. If I do my Friday night, it's becoming less and less of a positive lottery hit. So if memory serves, Turtles a 10, World Class Bowling an 11, Mortal Kombat a 10, Double Dragon an 11, and Mappy an 11. If that's not right, then that's what it is now. And then play choice gets the deuce. After Mappy, there's nothing but blank space, so I guess we're done. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment. You have a fantastic day.